Found out something really interesting. Yesterday, my oldest sister, she had a bunch of old newspaper articles and things about, from my grandparents on my father's side, and she was going through some of these, and she found this old newspaper article about my great grandfather's farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and very interesting here. I'm going to show you this email. I'm going to be blocking certain parts of it out to protect private email addresses and things like this, but she sent it to my mother. My mother sent it to me. British Embassy attaché buys 87-acre farm here. This article, whoever wrote it didn't do a very great job. It says David Ogilvy, it's Ogilvy with an O, not an A, of the British Embassy staff, Washington, D.C., bought a Lancaster County farm at public sale on Wednesday afternoon, paying $257 an acre for the farm of 81 acres of land in Salisbury Township, which was offered at public auction by D.W. Denlinger of Gap. Okay, it's funny, it says 81 acres here, 87 acres there. Okay. It says here the premises contain substantial farm buildings equipped with electricity. Kind of shows you how far back this one goes. Shedding to hang 10 acres of tobacco, meadow, running water, and 8 acres of woodland on Gap Hill. Eli Byler bid in the place for Ogilvy, I'll say it the right way, who could not attend the sale in person, but who made a number of visits to this county, starting early last summer in several attempts to buy a farm in Lake Hawk Township at private sale, according to V.D. Kling, the auctioneer. In a telephone conversation with Ogilvy Wednesday, the auctioneer said the purchaser plans to move to the farm, and in his trips here he always expressed a desire to live in the heart of Lancaster County among the Amish people, Mr. Kling reported. Very interesting. And so I was like, okay, David Ogilvy. I'm not sure who that is. David Denlinger. I can't remember what the W stood for, but David Denlinger is my great-grandfather. Very odd, these connections. So I'm like, David Ogilvy. Okay, who's this guy? Looked it up. You can read this for yourself here. Let me zoom in a little bit here so you can see a little bit better. Writing's a little bit small, but there he is right here. This David Ogilvy guy. Get down here, coming to America. 1938, Ogilvy emigrated to the United States, where he went to work for George Gallup's Audience Research Institute in New Jersey. Ogilvy cites Gallup as one of the major influences on his thinking, emphasizing meticulous research methods and adherence to reality. During World War II, Ogilvy worked with the intelligence service at the British Embassy in Washington. There he wrote enormously, analyzing and making recommendations on matters of diplomacy and security. He extrapolated his knowledge of human behavior from consumerism to nationalism in a report which suggested applying the Gallup technique to fields of secret intelligence. Eisenhower's Psychological Warfare Board picked up the report and successfully put Ogilvy's suggestions to work in Europe during the last year of the war. One of the grandfathers, basically, of psychological warfare used by the military. Now, here it is. After the war, Ogilvy bought a farm in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and lived among the Amish. The atmosphere of serenity, abundance, and contentment kept Ogilvy and his wife in Pennsylvania for several years, but eventually he admitted his limitations as a farmer and moved to New York. Okay, I guess that's him there on his farm. And here he is again. Ad man, big advertising guy here and whatever else. You know, through here he is as an older man. There's actually, a little while ago, I saw I shouldn't say a little while ago. This morning I was watching different things and stuff, doing a little bit of research into this guy, and there was an old interview that he did with David Letterman. Okay, I'm not recommending David Letterman's show or watching television, but what I'm saying is, he was very, very famous. But his connections to the intelligence field. Here's the Wikipedia article on it, and this is rather telling, I thought. It goes down into here. It's a lot of the stuff from his actual, davidogilvy.com. But you go down into here, let's see where the thing is. Okay, I went past it, I guess. But it talks about, right here. Also, during World War II, David Ogilvy was a notable alumnus of the secret Camp X, located near the towns of Whitby and Oshawa in Ontario, Canada. According to an article on it was there he mastered the power of propaganda before becoming king of Madison Avenue. Although Ogilvy was trained in sabotage and close combat, he was ultimately tasked with projects that included successfully ruining the reputation of businessmen who were supplying the Nazis with industrial materials. Psychological warfare, some of that stuff there. Military intelligence. He was a spook, in other words. And here is the article on Camp X here on Wikipedia. Very interesting things there. And I thought this was interesting down here. Where is it at? I'm just kind of scanning the article here. It's some really interesting stuff here about this camp thing. Basically, it was where William Donovan was another one of the ones that went to this Camp X. William Wild Bill Donovan was a Roman Catholic, and he founded the CIA, the Office of Strategic Services, right there. You can see it, and then it became the CIA. Right there. Okay, the most notable individual in the camp's history was Colonel William Wild Bill Donovan, wartime head of the OSS, who credited Sir William Stevenson with teaching Americans about foreign intelligence gathering. Very interesting stuff. And I haven't even looked into this whole Camp X thing, but there's a lot of mind control stuff, a lot of military intelligence. They basically got rid of the whole thing, and now there's just a memorial there. Some real weird stuff. But then I thought this was interesting. Ogilvy, the name Ogilvy in the Encyclopedia Britannica. It says here, Ogilvy, John, English Jesuit. I'm just like, of course. Was born in Scotland and educated mainly in Germany, where he entered the Society of Jesus, being ordained priest at Paris in 1613. As an emissary of the society, he returned to Scotland in this year disguised as a soldier. And in October 1614, he was arrested in Glasgow. He defended himself stoutly when he was tried in Edinburgh, but he was condemned to death and was hanged on the 28th of February 1615. Well, praise the Lord for that. But just kind of an interesting thing there. So David Ogilvy, one of his ancestors, you go back far enough, and it was this guy ended up, being a Jesuit. And of course, obviously Jesuits don't have children, but you understand one of the, would have been like a great uncle or something like that. But it goes down through there. Again, different Ogilvys were in different situations there. Another one of the Ogilvys says, serving with the Scots against Cromwell, he became a prisoner for the third time in 1651. Over here, in this passage, it says, Sir George Ogilvy of Barras defended Dunatar Castle against Cromwell in 1651 and 1652, and was instrumental in preventing the regalia of Scotland from falling into Cromwell's hands. In 1660, he was created a baronet. The title became extinct in 1837. So, just thought that was interesting. You had a Jesuit in Ogilvy's family line going back, and also a guy that fought, a Roman Catholic commander that fought against Oliver Cromwell. So, just kind of an interesting thing there. Really interesting information about this man. And it's just kind of odd. And there's nothing there, special or whatever else, that my great-grandfather was somehow in on things or whatever else. My great-grandfather was a farmer, okay, just a common man. He died, if I remember correctly, I think he was in his, he was fairly young, if I think. Now I'm thinking actually of my mother's side. I think he died, my great-grandfather, David Denlinger. My uncle was named after him. My uncle's name was David Denlinger, and but he died, I think, in his 70s or something like that. My dad, I never met my great-grandfather, but my dad said he remembered going there and his grandfather was like bedridden for a while and things like that. But my great grandmother, my David's wife, she was 6'3". So that's my height, and I'm 6'3". So I'm like the tallest one of my whole family, and even all my cousins and everything. None of them are over 6 foot tall. So everybody always says, well, you got that from your great grandmother. So I got my height from my great grandma. It's kind of funny, but I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing there. Just weird how things just tie together and whatever else. This very high level marketing guy and military intelligence, from the British government and things like that, and tie-ins with the CIA and everything else. And the guy bought my great grandfather's farm. I'm going like, this is really weird. So just thought I'd share that with everybody out there, just as kind of an odd thing. It's like what do they say? The real world is stranger than fiction. Very true. So that's going to be it. Thanks for watching.